catch stitch and just how I'm preparing my fabric. I'm just gonna leave like this white one straight, and then I'm gonna fold the pink one like that, and then I'm just gonna pin it to each other. Okay, you will need some hand sewing needles for this assignment. Hopefully you guys can get your hand on one of those. And I'm gonna use a contrast color thread, again, just so you can really see what I'm doing. Now, we do not want to double up our thread. I notice that's something beginners often do, but for this stitch, there's no reason to have it doubled up. If you're doing a button, I get it, that's fine, but not for this kind of stitch. And honestly, it's gonna make it much harder for you to sew if you have double thread, because now you have to worry about it getting tangled, and like, just trust me, don't do it, okay? So anyways, I'm gonna thread this needle. And I kind of just leave a little tail, and then I have my long part of thread. So again, I just leave it long enough so that it doesn't get unthreaded easily, but I'm not gonna pull it all the way. Now I need to tie a knot. So I wanna try to show you the way that I like to tie them. I think it feels awkward your first time, but once you figure it out, it's the way to go. So what I'm gonna do, I always tell students, I kind of pinch it with my index finger and my thumb. And then I wrap it behind my index finger and around it. So see how it kind of makes like an X on my index finger in the same spot where my thumb was? Kind of crosses. And then I put my thumb on it and I kind of like rub my fingers together, and it kind of makes my thread twist a little bit. And then I pull it down, and voila, a knot is born. Okay, so I'm gonna try that one more time. Grab it with my pincher finger and thumb, wrap it around, see that beautiful X? Put my thumb on it, roll it, get it all twisted up, and just slide it down. All right, cool. Okay, now to show you guys this, one of the first things I like to do is ask the class who is left-handed, because it's gonna be slightly different for you. So I think I'm gonna start with all the people who are right-handed first, and then I'll show you what to do if you're left-handed. So if you're right-handed, you will probably hold the needle in your right hand. You will start on your right side, and you will work your way towards the left. That's pretty normal. So every stitch you take, your needle points to the left, okay? The catch stitch, you still stitch with your right hand, and you still stitch, you know, in the direction towards the left. But instead of taking your first stitch on the right hand side and then stitch number 2 towards the left, like that, you start with stitch number 1 on the left hand side, and you work your way towards the right, even though your stitches are still going opposite. So because you're going opposite direction, opposite stitch direction, it makes these cute little cross marks. It crosses over. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I don't know if that explanation helped or made you more confused. We'll find out. So because my knot's usually kind of ugly, I like to do my first stitch just in this fold. So I kind of just stick my needle up through that fold, and hopefully my knot will be hidden and nobody will know how ugly it is. Okay, so I'm gonna stitch my garment. I think I'll call this folded part the lining. I guess that's where they use catch stitching. Honestly, I don't really use it very often, but it's part of your curriculum, so I'm gonna teach it to you. When I looked on the internet, everyone says that they use it to attach lining inside a garment. So I'm gonna pretend this pink fabric is my lining, and then this muslin is like my jacket, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little stitch, maybe, gosh, 1/8 of an inch. And it feels pretty comfortable, just, you know, right to left, pull that through. Cool. Now I'm gonna take my next stitch. I think I'm gonna do it kind of on the fold of my fabric. I don't want that to get in the way. And hopefully when you do this, you maybe have a little cross mark. I'm gonna unpin this guy. Okay, it looks like I went about 3/8 spacing, so I want to try to keep that up. If it's helpful, maybe you kind of put dots about 3/8 inch away. I'm sort of eyeballing it. It's probably gonna be crooked. I'm probably gonna regret it, but I just chose not to mark it. Okay, so there we go. I'm taking my next stitch from my right hand side towards the left. And I have more cross marks happening. So now I'm going to scoot over about 3/8 inch to the right and take another little stitch. I kind of like using all my different colors. All right, I'm going to keep on going, another 3/8. Just take my little stitch here. Okay, so I'm at the end, and to do my last stitch, I'm just going to take my regular stitch and then see this little loop? Well, maybe I'll just do one more stitch actually. Okay, I'm going to just take a stitch right in the same spot, a little teeny one, and then see how that my thread comes to a loop. I just want to put my needle inside of that loop. And it made a knot, and I want to double it up, so I'm going to do it one more time. So it's going to take like a teeny little stitch and see how there's a loop with my thread. Before that loop disappears and goes away, I put my needle through it, and then now that's just made a double knot. I'm ready to trim my thread. Okay, there you go. There's your catch stitch seam. You can see I started getting a little lazy and making bigger steps here. Let me know if you guys have questions about that.